As we move on the path of spirituality, many people do expect to achieve supernatural powers or something reaching to the level of godliness. But it needs to be noted, it's not about miracles happening or the sky is pouring down a shower of flowers on you. It's nothing like that. It's just a simple evolution in your consciousness. Now, symbolically, the ascension of Kundalini across your seven chakras, it has been clarified in so many ways across the chakras from Muladhara to Sahasrara. Now, those are mythological and interesting ways of telling it. It is told in the form of an interesting story, basically. So it catches your attention, it captures your interest. Generally, what happens when we are, leading our life in the normal ways, okay, and most of the energies they are at the Muladhara. Now, in scriptures they say there are seven sins, but I won't call them seven sins, like lust, greed, and most of the worldly pursuits, jealousy, hate, anger. These are not sins as such. These are merely the normal, expected ways that a common human being is supposed to lead the lives. But if we analyze it as per our energy chakras, when we are busy in these pursuits, we end up, spending most of our energies. Suppose you are into material pursuits. Suppose you are competing against somebody. You are not comfortable with somebody getting materially rich, and you compare your situation. Let us say there is a term jealousy for that, and you yourself go into that, and suppose you are involved with a woman or a man, you will find that that particular situation, it creates an entire ecosystem building around that. So you end up spending most of your energies in that, and consequently you don't have the surplus energy to move into the higher chakras. So it's basically like this. Suppose you have a pipe, and there are seven outlet holes across that pipe, and suppose you are passing water or some fluid from one end to the other. Now, most of the time, if the lowermost opening is is very broad, so most of the fluid will come out of that. So that is basically leading a normal life without Kundalini. So most of our energies, it's not about leading a virtuous or sinful life. Absolutely nothing like that. In pure pristine nature, such dualities don't exist. So these are just perspectives of looking at things from this angle or that angle. So if suppose somebody is not comfortable with worldly life, of course he will get judgmental about it, and he will notify these tendencies as something sinful, not virtuous. It's not like that. Nature is impartial. These are just different ways of utilizing those energies. Now, if we are existing at our Muladhara, that is the lowermost opening, it is fully open, and most of our energies are finding an outlet across that. Like we're involved in material pursuits, you are involved in competition based pursuits, you are involved in pursuing a man or a woman, and you are trying your level best to raise yourself uh, in the eyes of others. Okay, you are evaluating your position, your situation in terms of what other people think about you. So you are busy in your normal life, and you are spending most of your uh, energies in those pursuits. Nothing wrong with that, absolutely no problem. These are your energies, and you have every right to spend them the way you want. But the thing is, if we subsist at this least optimum level, only hardly, not even 10%, 90% of our energies, they get spent in these pursuits, and only 10%, and 10% is, I don't think most of the people even channelize 10% of the energies for higher chakras. Usually it's just 5, 6, 7%, but let us say it is 10%. So 10% of the energies, they arise. Okay, and now the higher chakras, it's just like in that pipe, suppose the higher openings are blocked. Okay, so if you push liquid from the lower end, most of it is bound to come out of the lowest opening, that is Muladhara. If we create an LSA, let us say our spine is just like that pipe, and the various chakras are the different openings, and suppose the higher chakras, they are closed, so obviously the force of life, that expansion of life, it will find an outlet across the lowest chakra only. Okay, and on the basis of that, we will create our life, and that's how uh, our own individual manifestation will come into being. Okay, that is the world we create for ourselves on the basis of the lowest opening, because the higher openings, that is higher chakras, they are closed, and 90% of the fluid of life, okay, be it in sexual cravings, be it in material cravings, be it in competition based cravings, and be it in anger, heat, jealousy, so many things that jolt our psychosomatic system from time to time. Now, the entire path of spirituality is nothing but clearing those higher openings. Okay. Now, suppose we are working on the Swadhisthana chakra. Okay, and there is an opening in the second opening from the lower end. So obviously, naturally, if the life force is coming from the lower end, and if the second opening from the lower end is opened, of course a bit of it is bound to come out from the second, that is Swadhisthana chakra, and then uh, since it's a higher energy frequency chakra, we will create our world as per the frequencies of that, as per the tendencies born of that chakra, and so on and so off. So the entire concept behind Kundalini is that we are just opening the higher channels so that energy can come out, just like before it was coming out of the Muladhara. Now it is coming out of different chakras, and consequently our perspective is changing, and as more and more energy is going across the spinal fluid and going into the chambers of our brain and activating hitherto unused neurological channels, because only till now only 10% energy has been supplied to the brain, and that is just sufficient to activate 7 to 10% of neurons that fall in the chambers of our conscious brain. And here We are moving towards super consciousness. So nothing miraculous about it, just that if we are not losing more energy at the lower chakras, and if we are taking more energy to the higher chakras, and suppose now brain being just almost limitless in its potential, because trillions of neurons, and each neuron is linked to 10,000 surrounding neurons, and each particular pairing creates a new neurological circuit. So that is why they say that I am Brahmasmi, because there are infinite, and when I say infinite, it is infinite, because if there are trillions of neurons, and each one is you know capable of getting linked to 10,000 surroundings in different permutations and combinations, so there are infinite possibilities. Just that it's, let us say, suppose there is a 100-watt bulb in your room, and you are just supplying 10-watt energy, and it is just shining at its lowest end. That's how it is. We are just using only 10% of the potential, because we are losing most of the energy at the Muladhara. And the entire concept behind all these yoga sadhanas, pranayams, and kundalini tantra and everything, it's just of clearing that central channel, and so that more and more energy is going into your hitherto unused chambers of your brain, and it is activating more and more neurons. It is getting you, because there is a concept in medical science of neuroplasticity, that it's very elastic in nature, and it can change, it can get reshaped. Just that more and more cells are getting activated. So the full enlightenment, according to my view, the full enlightenment is nothing but just channelizing 100% of your life force, that is your energy, into the chambers of your brain, so that you have almost uh, infinite numbers of neural circuits operating, and that gives you a very, very uh, high end, belonging to very high energy frequency, a highly evolved perspective of things. It's just like that, suppose, let us say, when we are surviving at the level of Muladhar, let us say we are just standing in a street, okay, and our perspectives are, you know they are hidden by the surrounding walls, because we cannot look across the corner. And when we don't have a holistic view of things, there are so many assumptions that just creep into our mind, which is ever scheming, calculating, full of insecurities and fear, because we don't know what is across that corner. But now suppose you rise into the air to a level of, let us say, multi-story level, then you will have a broader, more integrative perspective of things. Then you will find out, oh my god, I was stuck up across that corner, and I was scared that what is beyond that, if it is a dead end, or there will be some way out. Now if suppose you are looking at it from the skies, you can see a picture in totality, okay, and as you continue moving on, uh, you get more and integrated and holistic view of things. So the same happens with the so-called enlightenment, or the people who are highly evolved on the spiritual path. It's just like that, they are no longer looking at things standing in the street. Now they are in a position, they are in the skies, they can look down, they can find out Absolutely nothing changes. The things as such are as they were before, but now your perspective has shifted. It's just like that. While as children we are fighting for toys, but why don't we fight for toys as we grow up? Just because we realize the futility of it, it loses its meaning for us. The same happens as more and more and more energy goes into our brain, activating uh, the unused neurons in our subconscious mind. It's just like going above the ground level. Okay, so our emotions, thought patterns, most of the insecurities and our fears, the phantoms born of darkness, they get dispelled automatically, because now we are getting a more integrative or comprehensive or holistic approach to life. That is why in Hinduism they say Jaisi Drishti Vaisi Srishti. Now since our drishti is just evolving, and most of the things which used to just put up a trigger of anger in us before this ascension of energy into higher chakras, the things which would just see us fuming and fretting and getting angry, now they don't do it any longer, because they lose their meaning, just because as we grow up and a toy loses its meaning for us. The same thing happens here. So nothing mythological or superstitious about it. These are very very simple things, like you are just clearing your central channel, and there are such beautiful techniques of clearing the central column, because most of the time our pran is either flowing through ingla or uh, pida, but the main challenge is to get it through sushumna. So that is, in Taoism there are so many beautiful techniques. I myself use them to good effect. It's just like clearing that central channel, and to take more energy into your brain, and that gives you a fresh perspectives on life. Call it enlightenment, call it Kundalini, or call it evolution of soul, whatever. I mean, words are just words. They never justify reality. They just stand for as symbolic representation of something which is beyond our comprehension. So this is what I have come to realize so far, and these are the things which I feel, these things happening in my body 24 by 7, and it's not that I have read something about it, and so many things, and you just have to believe in Mother Nature. It will guide you as per your circumstances, as per your karma, as per where you stand. It will create situation and circumstances, and guidance will come from here or there. What I have felt is that whenever I am stuck up, I get very great guidance, either through a book or somebody telling me something, or through on television or YouTube channel, anywhere. But the main thing is that at the end of it, I am in a position to realize, yes, I have received help. So that is why I say my guru is entire life, this mother existence. Because if you are open to it, of course it will guide you, and it's only about realizing the full potential, because this brain, we are using 5-7% of it. It's there, its potential is there to be realized, and that is the main challenge. And for those who seek larger truths, of course that is the way. Either you go through bhakti yoga or karma yoga or jnana yoga. These are different paths which will ultimately take you to the same destination, because I have used all the three paths, and what I have realized is that they serve their own purpose in their different ways. but they are complementary to each other. So always stay open, and believe me, we keep receiving help and guidance as and when we need it.